Good morning. You just missed a wonderful Janet Jackson serenade. Welcome to SJU on Fandom Entertainment. We're going to be talking about a ton of great stuff today. Of course, we're talking about that Birds of Prey trailer. We're going to be talking about WB. Are they building a bigger Batcave? That means things. And we're also going to talk about the 6 Underground trailer and the Swipe Night trailer for the Tinder interactive experience.
Thank God. Wow.
Yeah, Tinder's got a thing.
It's like an Armageddon episode.
There is a lot happening. And I've got this fine crew to help me get through all of it. We've got Ed, we've got Joe, we have got Dan. Good morning. First of all, Birds of Prey and the emancipation of the first full trailer via Warner Brothers. So DC and WB released the first trailer for Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. That is going to be coming out next year, February 7th in 2020. So we did get the full trailer. I assume we've all gotten a chance to take a look at it. I know a few people, we'll just get straight into this, a few people are like, Birds of Prey of the Pips, and she's the Gladys Knight? How does this work? Did you kind of get that feeling, or?
Yeah, but hang on, I gotta walk off in a second and yell at construction workers. Yeah, but also no one's lining up for a Huntress movie, not yet. Let's make
her a thing.
One is.
Yeah,
you gotta. You got to use your Stone Cold. You got to use your Rock. You got to use your Hogans to put over the little guys. Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh-huh. You got to use your Harley Quinn to put over Mary Elizabeth. Hang on.
All right, Joe will be right back to finish that point.
Joe is going to be the enforcer. That's the world we live in now, where Joe has to walk off the air to yell at construction workers.
Yep, we did it, guys.
Congratulations. Yes, Harley is obviously a breakout character. Margot Robbie is a breakout actor. I think this movie looks like a lot of fun.
I do too.
I really, really do. This actually harkens back to one of my favorite episodes of the animated series, Harley and Ivy,
yes.
where basically Harley kind of goes off on her own, and she and Poison Ivy sort of shack up, for lack of a better word. I always hated that it didn't stick.
Right?
I loved that flavor
Sticks
of the
in
character.
The comics.
Well, from what I've heard. But in the show, it didn't quite. So I love this idea of, I think Harley Quinn and Deadshot seem to be the two things, no matter what you thought of Suicide Squad, that people came out excited about. Mm-hmm. Across every loving the movie or maybe not liking it so much. So I think this looks like a good time. I love Margot Robbie. I think she's a great actress, and for this role, I think I liked her performance in Suicide Squad. So I'm looking forward to more of her.
And how many X-Men movies were Wolverine and the Pips?
That's true.
Like what? All of them?
Wolverine and Destiny's Child behind him, just poor Kelly and Michelle dancing.
Kelly and Michelle, they got to get the steps down too. Yeah. So I get that. And also just as Joe was talking about, like, hey, what's your name with the crossbow? I'm the Hunter. It doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't. Nobody's coming to see you or how cool you cry. But after this movie, people were like, dude, Huntress was ill with those crossbows. Yep. She was great at riding a motorcycle. She's a great character. Backdoor pilot this thing. We're looking at this like a backdoor pilot for everybody.
I do get why people be like, why not just call it Birds of Prey? Because we do live in a world where, like, they made a Guardians of the... I feel like this is such a tired talking point now, but they made a Guardians of the Galaxy and everyone loved it. So I think we do live in a world where, to some logic, you can be like, why not just call it Birds of Prey? Like, people will go, but I don't think you can take it for granted that people will just go. Like, Harley Quinn is your queen on the chessboard. Yeah. Like, you lead with that.
And I think most people are going to call it Birds of Prey. I don't know how.
I'm not saying that full trailer every time.
Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. No, you're going to walk up to the box office and you say one for Birds of Prey. Because I'll tell you right now, that title's not going to be on charting. Birds of Prey is what you're going to see on that chart. I'm not making the text that small. Not happening. I did it with John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. I did it with Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. No, with charting. We get down to the business of it.
You broke Dan. Congratulations, movie titles.
It's ridiculous. Yes, I'd like to buy one ticket, please, for Fast and Furious Presents. Just call it Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
we know who they are. We don't need
to.
I'm sure that was a Vin Diesel contractual thing.
The assassination of Harley Quinn by the coward Black Mask.
Yeah.
We can watch that.
But I'm stoked about seeing Rosie Perez play Renee Montoya.
Yeah, that completely, like, I didn't even realize that was a thing until I watched the trailer. I don't know how I managed to miss that.
Yeah, I think she's a great actress, and I think she deserves to be able to step up into some cool roles aside from, like, you're loud. I just finally finished Fargo season 3. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is so good. So good in that show. So I'm stoked to see her
and
as
Ewan
Huntress.
McGregor again.
Yeah, I think that's going to be... Yeah, Ewan McGregor can play such a great dirtbag when he wants to turn it up. So, I think this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and this will be a breakout role for Journey Smollett-Bell, which, yes... relation, but I think that's going to be a huge breakout role for her as well, because she's been acting since she was a kid, and this is a huge, like, could be a star-making opportunity. I really liked the interplay that we got to see with her Huntress and Harley Quinn in the trailer, though that was great. Yeah, the whole thing looks fun. It didn't give us too much plot, but I think that's okay. I get an idea of what the movie is going to feel like and what the vibe of it is.
It was almost like it was supposed to entice you to watch the whole thing instead of telling you the whole story.
What's that like?
Oh, dude, that's nuts.
What?
Yeah.
WB knows how to cut a great trailer. We know this.
True.
We've seen this. However, as always, everything I've seen looks good. So, we've got, February? We got a few months yet. I'm sure there'll be another trailer coming out that will spoil the third act.
Oh, completely.
That's how it seems to work now for every movie. I like it.
I do love that in the synopsis, there's almost a meta of the reality of, like, the slate of films where Batman has disappeared, leaving Gotham City unprotected from crime. Like, I want to see the scene where Batman's like, the Ben Affleck Batman is literally like, written off the production slate and vanishes, and everyone's like, my God, what's happening to Gotham?
That is true. Where is Batfleck?
He's just gone.
He's gone, man.
Batman's
gone.
He just left.
Just gone.
But I'm assuming he retired, or maybe he's doing a space thing.
He's just doing Spartan runs now.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
just
the
Spartan mud
Justice
runs.
League went to space.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it
he's in
happens.
space.
Yeah.
They do that.
Yeah.
Somehow he still found a tire to flip in space.
Yeah. Space tire.
He's still doing those.
Zero gravity, though. It's
the
useless.
Hey!
The ropes, they're useless.
All right. Good morning. We are SJU on Fandom. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We have got some super fun things coming up. The first new episode of Power Levels is coming out on Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Screen Junkies channel. These look so good. We've gotten a chance to watch them. They are great. We forced an actual physicist to do real science on some very important questions about fake stuff. And this new episode is Batman v. Batman v. Batman. So make sure that you catch that. Tell your friends. Share it. We really appreciate it. And not just because you like us, but do it because it's good. Because it is really good. Also... So, see, look at that. Grapple Challenge. That's amazing.
Grapple Challenge.
Also, some of us are going to be going to New York Comic Con. There are 2 big panels. Joe, you want to tell us something about that?
Yeah. So this week, first of all, on Thursday, I will be in a panel, D&D Beyond and Fandom.
There.
So if you're going to New York Comic Con, my favorite gathering of the dorky tribes here in the Big Apple.
As it were.
Fandom and D&D Beyond are doing a panel on Thursday called Role Playing a Human. It is about the impact of tabletop role-playing games on your career, on your life, how it's made you a better person, or the opposite. I don't know, maybe like a few of us will be like, surprise, it's my villain origin story, was playing Pathfinder, 4th edition. But some really cool people on that. Brian Taylor Foster from Critical Role is moderating. Brian Posehne's going to be there. Rachel Milner. A lot of really fun people. That is on Thursday, October 3rd, 12:30 to 1:30 in room 1A21. And then, of course, the main event for us is Saturday night. We are finally premiering our Galaxy Quest documentary, Never Surrender. We're super proud of this thing. It looks really good. It's got the cast, it's got the crew, the writers, super fans, both, just straight up normal folk super fans that still dress up and cosplay as the characters, to, Hollywood producer level super fans of the thing. Greg Berlanti's in it. A ton of people are in it. Just a bunch of Star Trek people. Brent Spiner, Wesley. Sorry.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Ton of people just celebrating the love of this thing because it was really just ahead of its time. It's a fascinating movie to look at the process of getting it made, getting it done. Lots of really cool Alan Rickman stories in it. So we're finally premiering the whole thing. Not a trailer, not like the first half hour. We're premiering the entire feature-length documentary. And then after that, we'll be previewing some really cool stuff, some power level stuff, some other cool little things we've been working on. We'll be premiering an all-new Honest trailer. And Dan's going to be there, Billy's going to be there, Roth's going to be there, I'm going to be there. It's Saturday, October 5th, 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. in room 1A10.
Hooray! So the links for all of that are down in the description below if you want to see more about that. Also, I believe that there were some really fun pictures that were posted showing all of your faces. We got new headshots. Everyone else used a prop. I didn't get the prop memo.
Yeah, the props are really undersold to me, by the way, because like they tweeted out some pictures yesterday, and everyone else had props and stuff, and they're like, "Why doesn't Dan have a prop?" Like literally, I walked in and they were like, "Oh, do you want to use a prop?" I was like, "Did other people use it?" Like, "Oh, some people did, some people didn't." And I was like, "Okay, then I won't." And then I look and everybody's got like lightsabers, with the Mjolnir, and Roth's got a porg, and I'm just standing there like, like your dad, who's just like, "Hey, Pops, let me snap a picture." I feel that the props were undersold to me.
At some point in the day, people just start carrying props.
Because I even asked, I was like, "I've got a communicator on my desk. Should I go grab it?" They're like, "Nah, it's fine." I'm like, "Okay." And then like I look like the squarest dude in the room.
It's like
if it helps, I realized after we got pictures back that I just used all of Ed's props without realizing because the props. I'll take responsibility for the poor coordination of our props.
I didn't use any props either. Probably just my glasses.
Yeah,
sorry.
They are fun props. You work them.
You work them.
The Dans don't need props.
We're propless.
Twitter disagrees.
Look, there's not a lot of depth to me, and I need to carry a hammer or a Besbin blaster or something. I fully admit that.
I just feel bad because we were trying to plug our panel, and like all the people are saying like, "Where's Dan's props?" It's like, no, there's a bigger story here. But that,
what are you gonna do?
All right, y'all. Story number 2.
We will answer the question. Where's Dan's props? At New York Comic Con. Make sure you come see the panel. There, we fixed it.
There we go. Story number 2 is WB building a bigger Batcave. This is via Forbes. Director Matt Reeves' reboot of the Batman franchise is now in the process of casting major roles. This is from Mark Hughes of Forbes. And so it looks like casting calls have went out weeks ago for a wide array of characters, including Riddler, Penguin, Batman, Catwoman, Two-Face, and a bunch of other villains that are going to be appearing in the Batman. Forbes says the plan. I'm just going to forge ahead. Forbes says the plan is for Reeves.
I can't today.
For Reeves to make a Batman trilogy, but that there is opportunity for the world he creates to continue beyond that. So, of course, we're talking spin-offs, other things. It is expected that the in-development Batgirl film will tie into these Batman movies. Oh, yeah. Black Batgirl, baby. Sorry, Internet. One reason that the Nightwing movie is on hold is that it is to wait, according to Forbes' Mark Hughes, to wait until the status of Batman's sidekick has been settled. From what I've heard, Dick Grayson is expected to make an appearance in one of the Reeves movies, probably in the form of an origin story. So are you guys excited about them kind of planning this Bat world, or were you looking forward to that one movie at a time approach?
One at a time, please.
Yeah.
How many times does this have to fail for?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
One at a time. Make one great movie. Make one.
Yeah.
Focus on making one good movie and then go out from there. This idea of planning out 47 movies ahead has worked like one time.
Yeah.
Out of
all the times.
20.
Yeah.
And they started with one movie.
Yeah. And by the way, those first movies weren't all great. Whatever.
No, I'm with you. I don't care. Just make. I don't need any of these to be connected at this point. No. They've already proven with this Harley Quinn. I mean, again, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know. Maybe an aged up Robert Pattinson's Batman appears and is like, "It's me, the same Batman that's been in these. I just haven't been flipping as many tires." Like, Who knows? I don't know. But like the explanation to me of, I don't know, Batman's gone. Who cares? Enjoy the movie. Like that's fine. Like I don't need anything else. Like I'm not a person who needs an explanation of where every Avenger is in every Marvel solo movie. Like, well, why wouldn't everyone just come help? Because it's not their movie. And that's all I need to know. Like just give me a Nightwing movie. Right. Like just give me a Batgirl movie, or don't until you are ready to do a super, super good one. But like I don't need this. I don't know, this Matt Reeves thing with the rumor that it's based on Long Halloween, and it already sounds like big and a little too ridiculous. Well, I don't know.
But here's the thing, and I think what everybody's getting at is how Dan was saying that how many times can you make the same mistake? But it's even simpler than that. How many times can you pretend that Batman's been fighting crime for 100 years, or that he wants to quit? They don't want to do the middle. They don't want to do the middle of his career for Jack. The middle, where he's kicking butt and sliding down the pole and is putting his clothes on or taking them off or whatever the hell. That middle portion where he's just like, yeah, the pole took my clothes off. And now Alfred's got me a sandwich and I got to sit down and do these Pilates and then do the back computer, then take a micro nap and then go back out. Nobody wants to do that. They want to do the morose, oh, I just started doing this and it's so hard, my belt's heavy. Maybe I should be able to turn my head. Duh, duh. They want to do that, or they want to do like, or they want to do him quitting. Nobody wants to do the middle.
I'm curious.
Do the middle.
I am curious where this ends up, because if they are doing like, here's everyone, and we're doing Long Halloween, or we're doing like a big sort of, you have to do.
But again, long Halloween.
I'm not against the Long Halloween. Just make one. Just focus on. Okay, you're doing Long Halloween. Okay,
just do that.
Do that.
Just do
that movie. Put all of your energy into this movie, into this one awesome Batman movie, and then if it turns out great, people like it. Okay, what are we gonna do next? Let's go. Do we do Robin? All right. What's the logical way to bring Robin? Not this thing just like, okay, we're doing 4 movies. We're gonna have Robin. Get Robin on standby. Robin's gonna be in the second one. First, we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna set up this one in the first one. And how many times does that have to not work?
It asks too much of that movie to have to shoulder the burden of that.
And to clarify, circling back to Birds of Prey, you know, because saying the same thing of like, you got to lead with Harley Quinn and then you set up. The point is not to set up. The point is just to do Huntress and to do the Birds of Prey really well. Like the goal should not be this spins out into Renee Montoya, the Warner Brothers, the HBO Max series.
Because then you never wind up telling this. You never wind up telling a full story in that movie. That movie just winds up being a pilot for other things, and that's really unsatisfying. Audiences do not like that.
At no point in one of these movies do I want Alita to point at a floaty city and then we just cut to black. Like I don't want Robin to go and now and then we cut to black.
And it's not even the Marvel model. I mean, Marvel strained. Iron Man 2 suffered from it. Avengers: Age of Ultron suffered from it. When you make this idea of setting things up for later movies, critical parts of the film, that's where movies strain and stretch. That's why I think The Mummy was so disappointing in that
collapsed under
because
that weight.
half of it was the weight of setting up all of this other stuff. I think that there were some adjustments made. I think people might be like looking at Marvel's Phase 1 plan and saying we're going to do it, but without recognizing that as things advance, they realize that the more of that world building you put onto one specific movie, the less room you have to tell an actual story. And that's why I think a lot of the movies, like Thor Ragnarok, yes, Thor Ragnarok set up later films, but the idea of like hardcore laying groundwork for Infinity War was like the last scene, but then you have a good story in the middle that then goes on. Not this idea of like we have to include this element, this element, this element, this element to all set up later movies. It's what's a good story that then we can take this what happens in this story and go on to the next movie.
But also you have to establish an actual world. You know.
Oh no, I was just gonna say because what winds up happening is they become Wikipedia the movie, where it's like here's a person you need to know, and here's a person you need to know, and here's a piece of trivia, and there's a piece of trivia, but it never wraps up into anything that gives you a sense that I watched a story. It just feels like you watched, Encyclopedia Britannica.
Right, exactly, and that's
or even the digital version.
It's not quite as heavy.
Brought to you by Fandom.
But no, but again, though,
there's great wikis. Go do those instead of making a movie that way.
And what is a wiki? A wiki is supplementary to art. You look at art and then you go to the wiki to figure out certain things about it to have an enhanced appreciation of it. You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's what things are for. But like this again, starting your universe with an old ass Batman, or starting a universe with a young Batman that's been fighting crime too long for it to make any sense.
Yeah, I'm
Both
curious
those
where they'll
things
start it.
are weird. You know what I mean? Like he's been batting for like 3 years. He's got 15 hardcore villains he runs into all the time. How?
Yeah, I don't know. I am interested to see what they do there.
I mean, again, when we talked about the whole thing with the Penguin and stuff, I'm interested in the concept of a young Batman who thinks he's hot, whatever, and then is finally the Dark Knight kind of touched on this.
Right.
The idea of meeting, you're doing great, and then you meet that villain who just really tests your strength and your character. And like I said, if you want to do a long Halloween where you have a bunch of them doing that, I think that's an interesting movie. And I would be excited by that movie. Like, what I'm not excited about is the idea that going into this movie, you're already saying, well, we also have to put this and we have to set this up. It's, no.
Yeah.
Make one good movie.
yeah.
You can have plans about what you want to do, but you don't have to put them in the movie. You can sit and think about, well, we want to do Robin in here, or we want to do, but just don't throw that onto the screen.
Yeah.
Just know what you're doing.
Maybe, you know what, I also might just be in a mood today, and I'll feel completely different tomorrow. That's the curse of doing live internet every day.
I'm sure I've contradicted everything I've said in every show, because
But
At least twice. Yep.
At least today, whether because my coffee ratio wasn't correct or whatever, like, I'm tired of the roadmap. I'm getting, like, I wish I didn't know the next 36 steps of the new Marvel phase.
Right.
Like,
And what's wrong? What's wrong with doing something so dope that you have to pivot off of that? Like, do you really think that Iron Man was supposed to be a pilot for that universe, or did they concentrate on making Iron Man really
I think
good?
they hoped.
They
but
hoped.
They concentrated on making Iron Man
but
really
they
good.
concentrated on making it good. Because they put the 10 rings and all that stuff in there. People didn't really grok to that so much and clamor for it. So they're like, okay, well, we'll forget about the 10 rings thing till later. But the people who really liked the Mandarin were just like, ooh, the 10 rings is already in there, bro. It was just enough for the satay. So that's the type of stuff that they should do with this new Batman, rather than going, you know where we're going, you know.
Yeah, and I'm probably overreacting to a small article, but just the moment, like, I've been very excited about the Matt Reeves movie.
I love his
and
work.
also Pattinson signing on to me says something about the quality of film they're trying to make, and then so when you sort of see like, oh, and we'll probably swing, Nightwing's on hold until we figure out how to get to Nightwing from this, and also Batgirl's going to tie in and this and that. Like, I don't know. It just slows me down, especially because I've been enjoying the fact that DC can make Jason Momoa fighting seahorses the movie.
Yes.
And then also make this new Joker movie, and then also make a Harley Quinn movie that is in continuity with a bunch of movies that don't exist anymore, and it's fine. Like, I like that, and so I'm enjoying their process of like, we're just trying to make things.
Yeah, I think it also, for me, it helps that it's like, I'm already so used to separating all these things because, like, the movies are completely different than the Berlanti-verse, and I love the Berlanti-verse. I love all of the CW, DC stuff, but it's different, necessarily so. And so I think because of that, I'm used to being able to compartmentalize all of these different stories. So we shall see. It's still, we haven't even got a trailer yet. This is all conjecture, but hopefully we can trust in Matt Reeves. He is pretty good at what he does.
he is.
Yeah.
Story number 3. 6 Underground, the trailer has dropped. It is the Netflix Michael Bay, Ryan Reynolds movie. As my dad once said about Avatar, this movie has everything. It's got cars, it's got people running down the sides of buildings, it's got parkour, it's got magnets.
So I didn't know this existed until this morning.
Hard same.
When Spencer was like, did you watch the 6 Underground trailer? Dan, I don't think you've watched it.
I'm not. I'm getting my first looks at it right now.
Let me describe. So, from as best I understand, this is ironically a Michael Bay movie that was clearly made to be on the big screen. That is for Netflix, because the opening is just 30 seconds of beautiful, wide, spinning shots of skyscrapers. That was clearly meant to be on a screen. So, a bunch of people, I think, were pronounced KIA in the wars, and they have formed a group that fights bad guys above the law because everyone thinks they're dead, so they're not bound to rules. Visually, it looks like a Saints Row movie. And so there's lots of crazy action sequences that culminate in a boat that's also a magnet.
Yeah, edgy A-team? Is that kind of
I was gonna call it the Charlie's Losers A-team. Because it's just we're teams of dead folks.
What I want you to know is giant boat magnet.
That's
giant boat
out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the boat is a magnet now because they magnetroned it. So now grenades and knives and stuff. And
this
tubes.
looks.
It looks cool.
This looks gloriously like face-offy era, like The Rock, Bad Boys, like that nice era, that like Armageddon, like the fun Michael Bay era, where it was like this guy can make a movie.
Yep, tons of good Ryan Reynolds quipping. In his style.
I've said this about Michael Bay before. Transformers is the avatar of Michael Bay's career. In that he spent 15 years making Transformers movies when I think perhaps we could have gotten something from him that was more interesting. As I think that, these Avatar sequels might be amazing, but I also think James Cameron perhaps in the last decade potentially could have been working on some other things. We'll never know.
Yep.
I love The Rock. When you talk about like perfect action movies, like I think The Rock is a perfect action movie. Like Michael Bay has got it in him to make fantastic movies.
Yeah.
The Transformers movies are not those at all. Not even close. They're horrible.
They're quite bad.
I think anyway. So
It'd be weird if I suddenly was like, hang on.
I've given Michael Bay a lot of crap on this channel, and I think deservedly so. However, I still think it's well within his ability to make a great action movie because he's made a few of them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go watch this trailer, but like what I'm seeing is like that looks fun.
Yeah, this just looks like big, dumb, I agree with Joe, big, dumb, 90s fun. I am very, very excited for it. Yeah, there's a lot of the running down buildings.
Oh, and also the only thing that keeps that from being from that level of stunt action that I just saw just there from being basically a Mission Impossible movie is that weird shiny filter he uses on everything. Like if you just dial that down and just turn it into this is more naturalistic, baby. That thing we'd be all like, oh, it's awesome. But because Michael Bay makes everything look like a Snickers bar floating through the space.
But I don't mind a Snickers bar floating through space as long as it's not.
I don't mind the sheen.
A complete insult to every shred of intelligence that you might have in your brain, or a coherent shot in the same aspect ratio from shot to shot.
Right.
Yep.
And have shots last more than 0.4 nanoseconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very good with a ridiculous premise as long as you can execute well. I think that's the difference between a rogue general has stolen gas and has taken over a jail and is gonna shoot a city with a missile unless this dumb chemist and an old man can as long as you can execute well. That's the difference between that and a young man finds a pair of glasses and must help a robot from space that turns into a truck. Like equally ridiculous premises. One you executed really well, one you did not. So I'm also okay with Michael Bay swimming back into the world of just like executable dumb premise.
But I also think early in your career, you only get to direct a movie after the script has been vetted and 57 people have worked on it. And Jonathan Hensleigh, I think, was rewritten by everybody in Hollywood for The Rock to make it, and even probably on set. You know what I mean? You're monitored within an inch of your life, and everybody makes sure all your P's are whatever, and your Q's or whatever. But once you get to his level, nobody's bothering you anymore. You have such carte blanche, and next thing you know, you're spending $300 million to make robots that look like tin cans fight. You know what I mean? So when he was The Rock is perfect example of like you got just enough power. Just enough power and just enough influence to have to stick to it. That story that's a Criterion Edition movie. The Rock has a Criterion Edition for a reason because it's actually good. Yes,
I know Armageddon does.
Oh, don't get me started. The Rock has a Criterion Edition movie, and
I will not give that order. I cannot give that order.
It deserves it because of the scene you're talking about. Ed Harris is like a real villain. He's Killmonger. He's got a point, and you got to listen to him, and he has even more of a moral center. So you're just like, Ed Harris ain't even the villain in this movie. Some of this ragtag bunch of, I'm not even supposed to be here, mercenaries are the real villain of that movie. Ed Harris really ain't. He's one of the protagonists, frankly, when you really look at that movie from a certain point of view. So there's a qualitative difference between that and the rest of the stuff that he's done. And it isn't just that he's lost it.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Reynolds coming in with his team, because it's the writers of Deadpool, I'm wondering if, not like in a drama kind of way, but you bring in a guy who's got a lot of strong creative ideas and is not used to being told no, and another team that is now used to like not being told no, and deservedly so, like because the stuff they've been putting out is really fantastic, has made a lot of money, it's pretty untouchable. I'm wondering if like everyone's sort of having to find some equal footing makes for a cool looking thing.
I think as long as Ryan Reynolds doesn't talk over an explosion, he's fine.
Oh, that's gonna happen though, so we should get ready for that.
As long as he's not like improvising over a planned and timed explosion, I think he's okay.
All right. Well, there are scenes. Watch the trailer because there are parts where there are definitely action happening, and he is Ryan Reynoldsing at it, which is still great. This looks like big, dumb fun.
It feels like a combination
are good, I'm good.
of Reynolds' writing team and then Bay taking a bunch of stuff from his peak Nick Cage muse days and being like, I never got to do this with Nick, and like putting that on the table and being like, do something with this. That's kind of what it felt like.
Dude, Nick Cage being somebody's muse is hilarious to me.
He's mine.
Just hovering over this soldier. Come on, man. Eating cockroaches and stuff.
You know, Ryan, if I was on the boat magnet scene, I would have played it a little more like this.
Oh, man. Boat magnets. Speaking of throwing things at the wall, story number 4, the Swipe Night trailer via Entertainment Weekly. Dating app Tinder has released the trailer for its first scripted series, Swipe Night first. That word's doing a lot of work. The micro series, producers note LOL, is an end of world scenario where users have to make choices about how they'd spend the last few hours of their lives. Like at one point you have to decide if you're going to help someone or if you're going to keep running. As the story goes, you're going to have about 7 seconds to swipe right or left to make critical moral decisions. You cannot change those decisions, and they're going to use those decisions and like connect them to your dating profile and help you find matches based on what you do in this fake world. Now, I feel like I've made fun of this a lot and will continue to, but there are some really talented people who are involved in this, so it could not suck.
There's one critical flaw in this plan. Having watched Bandersnatch, when you're doing these kinds of things, you do not make the decisions that reflect who you really are.
Right.
You do the decisions that reflect what you don't want to do. So I feel like you're running the risk of matching up a sociopath with like a really nice person who is like doing some kind of like, well, it's just a choose your own adventure. I'm curious about this thing that I would never do in real life.
So you mean it's like online dating?
Apparently.
And it does. So it comes from director Karina Evans, who's done a lot of Drake videos. She's young and up and coming. Writers Nicole Delaney from Big Mouth and Brandon Zuck from Insecure. It's got some actual like names that are attached to this that it could be fun. I'm gonna play it.
I don't use Tinder, and I never have, but was there an outcry from the Tinder community for original programming?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
This ice cream doesn't have enough microchips in it. Nobody said that.
I don't know. I don't know that I wanted my Getting Booty app to like also have the opportunity.
I am waiting for what Nextdoor is going to do to respond with.
Nextdoor is already its own soap opera.
That's going to be a stealth game where you just go around and check and make sure that everybody's license plates match up with the house they're parked in front of.
This could be the dawning of a new age, though, where it's like you get matched up by different stuff, like get matched up with different people based upon what books you wish you read, or what books are in your house but you haven't read, but you put them on your shelf to make them seem like people that you actually read them or something like that.
I think there is an opportunity to use your choices in a thing like this, but I think they should just make deals with existing IP to do it. And every now and then you watch like Last Jedi on Tinder, and then every now and then it pauses and it puts an arrow on Holdo, and it's like, seriously? And you either tap like yeah, sure, or yeah, I know, and then like you find your soulmate. Like that's how Tinder helps you find your soulmate.
Holdo, it's dating. All right, well,
Yeah, Holdo.
Are you saying that we need a tool to find the easiest to find community on the internet? Trust me, I can find you 10 people right now who don't like Holdo.
But I want them to find each other in a real lasting and romantic way.
It'll be like a capture.
yeah,
it'll
they
be like,
meet in our mentions,
Yes.
Joe. That's their Tinder.
But I want them to realize they love each other.
what
they'll calm
happens?
down.
What happens to all the jerks who aren't brave enough to leave a YouTube comment or a Reddit comment or something like that?
Yeah,
what happens to all of them? They don't get to meet each other. They don't get to know all these hot takes.
But I do agree that like a lot of people are going to be like, how are we on a date? Because they were like, I think it'd be funny if that guy dies in the movie. And so they click like, don't help. And then they get matched with a bunch of people who would actually never help someone like in danger in real life or something.
I think if you go on one of these dates with this, you got to test it first. Like trip and see if they help you up. Like you've got to test their moral, like right off the bat in the beginning of the date. All right, so Tinder has said this is their first series. Do you have pitches for another possible series on Tinder? For me, I believe that was still one of the funniest things, and I don't remember who I'm quoting this from, but someone once called it people solitaire. And I say that we just go all the way with that concept. So you actually play solitaire on Tinder using the faces of people, and it'll only use the faces of people that you've already swiped on. And at the end, your last card, you both immediately sets you up on a date.
Huh. Nice.
I like this. I'm into this. I think if they're going to chase existing IP, there is a lost generation of PC games that were nothing but this. Just all weird CD-ROM, like...
You mean like a text-based or like...
Not like, those like photorealistic CD-ROM games that would come...
Oh, yeah.
Or you go even further back and Tinder needs to buy Leisure Suit Larry. That was a whole series of games in like the late 80s, maybe early 90s, where it was literally like the whole point of the game was to help this dumb cartoon character named Larry have sex.
Yep.
And when you were a kid, you were like, oh, like they were harmless, dumb, silly games.
Well, no, I know it's going to be, okay.
They're harmless.
Somebody's going to try to bring that out, and then somebody's going to do the woke version of that. Like, all the Leisure Suit Larry stuff. So it's like, oh, lie and say this. Nope, can't lie. That's not woke.
I'll play Woke Larry.
Yeah, Woke Larry.
I think
like all the dating mishaps that you can have when you're not woke. And it's like, it's an educational game.
But that,
educational software.
Yeah.
On your booty app.
Yeah,
Yep.
So skinny. He goes from Leisure Suit Larry to Skinny Jeans Larry.
Oh, I like it.
As he gets updated.
I think they should do a series called Background Check. You're the star of the show. You do things like provide a picture of yourself with the newspaper from that day, and yeah. Again, I don't use Tinder, but I know that would certainly make me feel more secure.
What's this badge? What happens if I click that?
You've just sent your arrest record to your potential match.
It's all small stuff.
It was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, the sequel would be called "Let Me Explain."
They were really rude at that Applebee's.
Yeah.
You'd get it if you knew the whole story.
How many Waffle House fights have you been in? Over 5, under 5.
I think that's the Waffle House Fight Simulator is the game on Tinder. And if you've played Waffle House Fight Simulator, there's an option on your profile where you can filter people who have played Waffle House Fight Simulator.
Yes.
Where you're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I just don't want to mess with those folks. So yeah, if they're into Waffle House Fight Simulator, I just
Especially if they're really good at it, like maybe they've had prior experience.
Yeah.
Kid Rock involved with that. Didn't he get into a fight at a Waffle House?
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm almost positive I read a story where Kid Rock got into a fight at a Waffle House.
It just feels right in my soul.
It feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's really sad is he had to drive from his parents' rich boy house down to the Waffle House and get into some performative street trash fight.
I'll like me some Waffle House posers.
He's a Waffle House poser.
That's right.
You don't even really like these late night carbs, do you?
You don't know what's smothered covered in chunk meat. All right.
Don't tell me about Waffle on the Fly.
All right, y'all. We have had a lot of fun here, smothering, covering, and chunking the news. Ed, where can the people find you?
They can find me at this show and at Ed Greer Destroys on Twitter, and they can check out my podcast, Nerd Goat Podcast. We had the great Dan Murrell on at the beginning of September, and it really set up a banner month in the old Bender household. You know, we really killed it. We're
give
growing.
You a pack of smokes. That was your Nerd Goat, was a pack of smokes.
Yeah, he came on and did Chief Brody, and it's we're gonna get you, Danielle. We had an abortive attempt to try to get you, but the bottom line, it's doing really well. Nerd Goat Podcast is a great place to support me, and we have Patreon and everything.
It's a real good show.
Thank you guys for watching it. Thank you guys so much for a lot of you watching the show.
And today's Tuesday, right? I'm not making that up.
I think so.
Yeah, today's Tuesday. That means that there is a new Honest trailer up. Go make sure you check that out. Commentaries will be up tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and get out of here before everything collapses around us, as you can hear, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.